The flickering screen casts a pale glow across Sarah's face, illuminating the subtle lines of fatigue etched around her eyes. It's late, well past midnight, and the only sound breaking the silence of her small apartment is the rhythmic hum of her laptop and the frantic clicking of her mouse. She's scrolling, endlessly scrolling, through online stores, a familiar ache blooming in her chest, a cocktail of desire and dread. A new blender, a smartwatch, a weekend getaway she can't afford but desperately needs. Each click is a tiny surrender, a whispered promise to herself that this one purchase, this one indulgence, will finally quiet the persistent hum of dissatisfaction that seems to permeate her every waking moment, but it never does. Instead, it leaves her with a growing pile of credit card statements and a hollow that no material possession can fill. Sarah, a dedicated marketing manager in her 30s, works tirelessly, often putting in 60 hours per week. Yet, despite her impressive salary, her bank account always seems to hover dangerously close to zero. She feels trapped in a relentless cycle, a hamster on a wheel, running faster and faster but never actually moving forward. She knows she's not alone in this. Perhaps you, like Sarah, have felt this invisible pull, this subtle but powerful force that seems to sabotage your best intentions, keeping you tethered to a financial reality you desperately want to escape. You work hard, you earn well, you even understand the principles of financial freedom. Yet for some inexplicable reason, true abundance remains just out of reach. What if I told you that the biggest barrier to financial liberation isn't the economy, your salary, or even your spending habits, but something far more? Something deeply rooted in the architecture of your mind? What if your brain, the most powerful tool you possess, has been subtly, perhaps even unknowingly, programmed for debt? Stick with me, because what we're about to uncover will not only illuminate the hidden mechanisms keeping you from financial freedom, but also provide the keys to reprogram your for lasting prosperity. If you're ready to break free from the invisible chains holding you back and a new dimension of mental and financial clarity, hit that subscribe button and join the Geist Prime community. This journey demands a commitment to introspection, a willingness to confront uncomfortable truths, but the reward, I promise you, is a life of profound value and sustainable abundance. The human mind, a marvel of evolution, is a complex tapestry woven from experiences, beliefs, and learned behaviors. From the moment we are born, our brains are sponges, absorbing every piece of information, every interaction, every cultural nuance. This absorption isn't a passive process. It's an active construction of neural pathways, deeply ingrained patterns that dictate how we perceive the world, how we react to challenges, and how we manage our finances. Think of your brain as a sophisticated supercomputer, constantly running. Some of these programs are beneficial, guiding you towards success and well-being. But others, often installed without your conscious consent, can be detrimental, leading you down paths of perpetual struggle, particularly when it comes to. We're talking about subconscious programming that keeps us in a cycle of, even when your conscious mind yearns for financial independence. This isn't about blaming external forces, it's about understanding the internal landscape that shapes your financial destiny. Let's dive into the first insidious program, the scarcity mindset. For generations, humanity has grappled with genuine scarcity, food shortages, limited resources, the constant threat of deprivation. While modern society, at least in many parts of the world, has moved beyond this existential threat, the echoes of scarcity still resonate deep within our collective unconscious. This translates into a deep-seated fear of not having enough, a generalized anxiety that drives us to make impulsive financial decisions. Sarah, for instance, often finds herself buying items on sale, convinced she's getting a deal, even if she doesn't truly need the item. The thrill of the discount temporarily silences the fear of missing out, of not acquiring something before it's gone. This isn't a rational choice, it's an ancient survival instinct, distorted by consumer culture, whispering that more is always better, and that if you don't seize the opportunity now, you might never have it. This scarcity mindset manifests in various ways: hoarding possessions, even if they clutter your life and add no real value; an inability to save, because the perceived future lack feels too abstract compared to the immediate gratification of spending, or even a tendency to cling to low-paying jobs out, fear that no better opportunity will ever arise. The brain, in its attempt to protect you from perceived future hardship, inadvertently traps you in a cycle of present-day financial strain. The constant internal dialogue of, "I don't have enough," or "I can't afford that," becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, reinforcing the very scarcity you fear. It's a subtle form of self-sabotage, a program running silently in the background, dictating your financial choices before you even consciously consider them. Then there's the programming of instant gratification. In a world of instant downloads, next-day shipping, and immediate access to information, our brains have been rewired for speed and immediacy. Delayed gratification, once a cornerstone of financial prudence, now feels like an archaic concept. The dopamine hit we receive from a new purchase, a quick swipe of the credit card, is a powerful neurological reward. Our brains, always seeking the path of least resistance and maximum pleasure, quickly learn to associate spending with this immediate chemical release. This creates a vicious cycle. The more we seek instant gratification, the more our brains crave it, making it incredibly difficult to resist impulsive purchases or to commit to long-term savings goals. Sarah often finds herself justifying small, frequent purchases, a fancy coffee, a new gadget, a subscription box, as treats for her hard work. Each one provides a fleeting moment of pleasure, a temporary balm for her. But collectively, they erode her financial foundation. She knows intellectually that saving for a down payment on a house would bring more lasting satisfaction. But the immediate allure of a new gadget is often too strong to resist. This isn't a moral failing, it's a biological imperative. A product of our modern environment. Our ancestors waited for harvests. We wait for a delivery notification. The fundamental shift in the reward system has profound implications for our financial health, making us susceptible to the allure of debt as a means to bridge the gap between desire and immediate fulfillment. Compounding these issues is the pervasive influence of social comparison and the keeping up with the Joneses phenomenon, which has been amplified exponentially by social media. Our brains are wired for social connection and belonging. Historically, this meant conforming to tribal norms to ensure survival. Today, it translates into an unconscious drive to match or exceed the perceived lifestyles of our peers, often showcased through curated, idealized online personas. When Sarah scrolls through her social feeds, she's bombarded with images of lavish vacations, designer clothes, and extravagant dinners. Subtly, insidiously, a program begins to run. To be accepted, to be successful, I must possess these things too. This isn't a conscious decision to go into. It's an almost primal urge to belong, to maintain a certain status within the perceived social hierarchy. The fear of being left behind, of appearing less successful, less happy, less enough, drives us to acquire possessions we don't need with money we don't have. This external validation becomes a powerful motivator, overriding rational financial planning. The credit card becomes a tool to bridge the gap between our current reality and idealized image we feel compelled to project. We buy things not for their intrinsic value, but for the story they tell about. A story often crafted to impress others rather than to genuinely enrich our own lives. This constant external validation loop keeps us on a treadmill of consumption, chasing an ever-moving target of perceived success, all while our financial freedom slips further away. The insidious nature of these programs lies in their invisibility. They operate beneath the surface of conscious thought, shaping our decisions without our explicit awareness. We often rationalize our spending, attributing it to necessity or reward, when in reality, we are responding to deeply ingrained mental scripts. The first step toward breaking free from this debt-inducing programming is to an observer of your own mind. This is where the wisdom of Cal Newport's deep focus and Daniel Kahneman's insights into decision-making become incredibly powerful. You must cultivate a heightened sense of self-awareness, a critical distance from your impulses. When you feel the urge to spend, pause. Don't immediately act. Instead, ask yourself, is this a genuine need or is it a response to scarcity? A craving for instant gratification or a desire for social validation? This pause, this moment of conscious reflection, is the thin wedge that can begin to dismantle years of unconscious. It's the moment you reclaim agency over your financial decisions. To truly reprogram your mind, you need to deliberately install new, more empowering mental scripts. This isn't about willpower alone, it's about systematically replacing old with new ones, as James Clear teaches in his work on habits. The first new program to install is an abundance mindset. This requires a fundamental shift in perspective. Instead of focusing on what you lack, consciously cultivate gratitude for what you have. Keep a gratitude journal. Regularly acknowledge the wealth of resources, opportunities, and relationships already present in your life. This isn't about ignoring financial challenges. It's about reframing your narrative from one of insufficiency to one of potential and possibility. When you genuinely believe there is enough, the desperate urge to hoard or impulsively acquire begins to diminish. You start to see opportunities where you once saw only limitations. This shift in perception isn't superficial. It literally rewires your, creating new neural pathways that support a belief in abundance. Next, you must cultivate the muscle of delayed gratification. This is arguably one of the most challenging but rewarding reprogrammings. Start small. Instead of buying that coffee every day, commit to making your own for a week. Instead of buying that new gadget immediately, put the money aside for a month and see if the desire still holds the same. Intensity. The key here is to intentionally create friction between the impulse and This friction allows your rational, conscious mind to engage, to evaluate the long-term consequences of your choices. Bodo Schaefer's principles of financial education emphasize the importance of conscious, value-driven decisions about money. Practice the 24-hour rule for non-essential purchases. If you want, wait 24 hours before buying it. Often the initial surge of desire will dissipate, revealing whether the purchase was a genuine need or simply an impulsive. Celebrate these small victories of delayed gratification. Each time you successfully resist an impulse, you strengthen the neural pathways associated with self-control and long-term planning, effectively weakening the old instant gratification program. Finally, consciously detach from the need for external validation. This is a profound, liberating step. Understand that your worth is not tied to your possessions, your brand name clothes, or your vacation photos. True self-worth comes from within, from your character, your contributions, and your values. Carol Dweck's work on growth mindset is particularly relevant. Shift your focus from external validation to internal growth. Invest in experiences and skills that enrich your life and expand rather than material possessions that merely project an image. When you free yourself from the tyranny of social comparison, you free up immense mental and financial energy. Sarah, for example, began to realize that the expensive handbag she coveted was more about a sense of status than genuine utility. She started investing in online courses that enhanced her professional skills, finding far greater satisfaction in her personal growth than in any material acquisition. This isn't about asceticism, it's about conscious consumption, about aligning your spending with your deepest values and long-term goals, rather than with the fleeting expectations of others. The journey to reprogram your brain for financial freedom is not a quick fix. It's a process, a continuous commitment to self-awareness and intentional action. It demands patience, resilience, and a willingness to confront the uncomfortable truths about your own behaviors. But the rewards are immeasurable. Imagine a life where your financial decisions are no longer dictated by fear, impulse, or external pressure, but by clarity, purpose, and conscious choice. Imagine the peace of mind that comes from knowing you are in control, building a future of abundance, not just for yourself, but for those you care. This isn't just about accumulating wealth, it's about cultivating a mindset of true freedom, a mental resilience that transcends market fluctuations and societal pressures. It's about aligning your internal world with your external aspirations, creating a life of profound value and sustainable prosperity. The invisible chains of debt are not physical, they are forged in the mind. And it is within your mind that you hold the power to break them. You have the capacity to rewrite your story, to reprogram your destiny. The question is, are you ready to wield that power? If you're tired of the mental exhaustion and the financial stagnation, if you're ready to reclaim your focus, energy, and financial direction, then this is your moment. Don't let your unconscious mind dictate your future any longer. Take the first step toward true mental and financial liberation. Subscribe to Geist Prime, join our community of conscious achievers, and let us guide you on this transformative journey. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss our next deep dive into unlocking full potential. Share this video with someone who needs to hear this message, someone who is also seeking to break free from the invisible chains. Your journey to clarity, control, and conscious evolution starts now.